To place your image into a document, you first need to create a document. To do that, you're going to come click on New File over here on the left-hand side of the screen, or you can come up to File and choose New. Click on New File, and here, if your default, your most recent is letter and says inches, you can come over here and name your file. Otherwise, make sure if it is set up like this, where it says points, change that to inches before you do anything else. And if these numbers are not correct, you can go ahead and change them. You're going to name your file with your first name, last initial, and this project we're going to call vector. You can change the orientation of your image or your document, depending on the orientation of your image. My penguins are mostly vertical, so I'm going to stick with portrait mode. Everything else you can leave the same, and then you're going to go ahead and click Create. This is going to bring up a blank artboard. You'll notice I have over here Properties. I have my layer selected. You do want to start with with Properties. To put your image into the document, I'm going to have you place it. This makes a link and connects it. To do that, come up to File and down to Place. Here you can get your image. I saved mine into my Pictures folder and I called it Penguins. I'm going to select my image and then choose Place. I'm going to make it as large as I can. It makes things easier. You'll notice it has this X on top that shows me it is not the original, it's not part of my original drawing. It is something I am placing. Here, over on the right side, if you're in your properties panel, you should see something, might be all the way down here, that says Embed, E-M-B-E-D. Go ahead and click that. That ensures that this file will stay with your document no matter what computer, system, etc. you're using it on. If you don't embed your image, if you go to open it on another computer, it won't be there, which would make it very difficult to trace. Once you've got your image placed, you can click on it to select it. Make sure you're using your black arrow. You'll know it's selected because it has this bounding box around it. And you can choose to change the opacity. That doesn't show up unless you have your image selected. I'm going to drop my opacity down a little bit. I find for me, it makes it a little bit easier to trace. You're not required to change the opacity if it's not something that works for you. Once I have my image, I'm happy with how it looks. It is embedded, and I'll know it's embedded because then my other option would be to unembed the image. I'm going to come over to Layers, name my layer. This is really important for this project. It's to keep you organized. I'm going to double click on the word layer and just type in the word image. Once I've got that set up, going to click right here in the space between the eyeball and the layer, and I'm going to click on lock. Because you'll notice if I try to come over this with the pen tool, where is my pen tool hiding? I'm just going to hit P. I have this no pencil, right? I can't draw on this. It's because my layer is locked. If I come all the way down to the bottom of my layer panel, I'll see this box that says create new layer, not sublayer, but new layer. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that. The best practice here is to start with the outline of your shape. So I'm going to go ahead and call this outline. Once I've got that set up, I can make sure my stroke is set to a color that is visible. Something bold makes my life a little easier. Let's go with green. And I can start tracing. This is where you're just going to go in and start using those skills you have. Like right now, I'm holding Alt to break my line. And I'm going to trace all the way around my penguin. Let's pretend I did a good job right now till I get to my first point where I can click and close my shape. If I'm unhappy with how anything looks, I have the option of using my direct selection tool. That's also the letter A on your keyboard to switch to that tool. I can click on the individual anchor points and handles and reshape as I need to. This is something you probably want to wait till you're a little bit closer to being done. And that's it. That's how you're going to place your image, set up your document to be successful. You can always turn things on and off by clicking on the eyeball and then locking things as you go, locking your layers as you go in to add more. So if I was going to add another one, maybe this would be my eyes, and I would start tracing the penguin's eyes.